Hello again. I'm back. Just quickly, I thought I'd come back with this one while I'm here. This is a review of a film which I was pointed in the direction of about a month ago. And thanks to Largo for trying to take this fame for pointing me towards it. It's just I don't watch regular television anymore, so that'd be why it kind of went past me at the time. But I've had a look at it, and it is this film. It's called Hope Not Hate. Our friends at Hope Not Hate have made Hope Not Hate the movie, and it is called Undercover: Exposing the Far Right. It was on Channel 4 about a month ago. It was on Thursday night. And let's have a quick look at this. I've actually submitted my own review of this to the IMDb, and yeah, it's 1 star out of 10. By the way, my review, it's funny enough, they're just processing it now. But it's quite funny to read some of the stuff about this on IMDb and just have a look at it. So here we go. Nail-biting ride following undercover heroes. The undercover heroes at home. We'll soon establish that they were neither undercover nor heroes. Yeah, this is an eye-opening thriller of a doc following two modest young men in the perilous undercover operation to expose the far-right group. No, they're not. No, they're not in any danger at all. Yeah, right. Yeah, so this is a perpetuation of a world that doesn't really exist. So, yeah, it's quite funny, really. You know, maybe extraordinary spies. You know, these people were not the next James Bond or anything like that, right? So about Hope Not Hate itself. Hope Not Hate is an organisation. It basically purports to be a charity that is interested in exposing and dealing with extremism, and particularly what it sees as far right extremism and stuff that deals with racism and the like. It actually came, and it's a bit of history, it came out of an organisation called Searchlight, which had been running since the 1960s, I believe, and its 1990s sort of 1990s incarnation. It was led by two men, a guy called Jerry Gable, who was like a kind of Marxist who's been around since the 60s, and Nick Lawls, who you'll see now, is the head of Hope Not Hate. Hope Not Hate. There was some sort of civil war within our organisation in the 2000s, and Hope Not Hate sprouted out of it as this new sort of quasi-arm of the state. It is apparently, it's basically exists in two forms. It's a charity, but it's also a company. So I think the charity receives money principally from the Home Office. So it's not really a charity either. It's a kind of quasi government department, if you will, or an offshoot of the Home Office, and then it gives that money to the company. And this is to do with reasons of accounting and transparency. There are certain things you have to do when you're a charity and certain things that you don't, and vis-a-vis with the company. So it looks like they get the best of both worlds out of that, which is dodgy straight from the get-go. And so they've been in existence since then. We know that they like to infiltrate and cause trouble and that kind of thing, and they're quite casual about spraying words like racist and fascist about, which is you should be suspicious about from the get-go. So this is their sort of television debut. This is Hope Not Hate the movie, and the basic plot of it is that they've got meetings in which the two main guys there, Lawls and another guy called John Hall, they're there, and they're talking intermittently about the grief they've had and the threats they've had and that kind of thing. And I don't know how much of this is true, but we'll just cover that in a bit. But it also has a guy who goes undercover, in quotes. You know, a guy called Patrick Hermanson, I believe, and he goes into various sort of groups of people and goes to various meetings, and he goes with a hidden camera and infiltrates them. I'll put that in quotes for a reason. And then there's a thing where he ends up meeting a guy at the end, and it's to discuss financing some sort of group which aims to be a kind of, it sounds like it wants to be a kind of British version of the German organisation AFD. It's all rather dull stuff. Largo said to me, I only got through half an hour, but it was so boring more than anything, and I totally sympathise with that. It was so dull. It was a slog. I had to go at it. I had to watch it in two instalments, and even that was tough. It was not a good watch. And I'm just reading this review. This is compelling storytelling. No, it wasn't. That is one thing. It definitely wasn't. There was nothing compelling about it. But storytelling might be a good word in the, in the Jack and Jill went up the hill sense. But there was nothing compelling about it. It wasn't even good television, right? There wasn't even any sense of drama. What this Patrick Hermanson does, I think he gets, he gets himself, he gets cameras and he basically goes to public meetings. He doesn't actually infiltrate anything. He goes to public meetings, to which he was invited anyway. A public meeting is a public meeting. You don't infiltrate a public meeting. It's like if they're having the yoga club or the knitting circle at my local library, and I walk in, I haven't infiltrated it. It's like you were welcome anyway. You were welcome to turn up. It was a public thing, and basically he catches a few cranky, weird people saying racist things on camera, and then got a shock horror. And you've got the odd academic professor type who believe in sort of sort of like genetic racial superiority, racial purity, and that kind of thing. And these people have always existed, and they found a few. But the big thing about Hope Not Hate is that they're a bit like turkeys who aren't going to vote for Christmas. So a good analogy I was just thinking about this for a set-off was, if you look at the troubles in Northern Ireland that went on between the 1970s and the 1990s, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is not somebody sort of perpetuating potential misinformation. It is a known fact, and it is a recorded fact, that the intelligence services infiltrated both sides of that divide and actually were perpetuating and causing trouble and keeping it going, to the extent that you had MI5 agents committing crimes, including murder. You just have to look at the example of Steak Knife, Mr. Scappaticci, to understand what I'm saying is absolutely right, and it's a matter of recorded fact. No one's going to sue me for saying that. They were infiltrating both sides and doing bad things. It was how they got their credibility, but it's also how they kept themselves in work. It makes you wonder how much longer that trouble went on for than it needed to. Could it actually have been resolved quicker if we hadn't had, MI5 shit stirrers in both sides, right? But we'll never know. And it's a bit like this with Hope Not Hate. Hope Not Hate have a vested financial interest in perpetuating this idea that there is a massive, quote, fascism problem in Britain. Look, just trust your own intuition, your own experience here. You may have met the odd person with dodgy opinions. You may have met the odd intelligent person who believes in racial science. So you might have met one of these people in your life. But I bet if you've met one ever, these people are not everywhere. They're not massively influential. They're not massively representative. Yeah, that's why they've had to go and find them. They're not hovering around street corners or anything like that. And they. There's a few of them about, and they're weird and cranky, but they're not really any threat at all. They're not there. And the other thing being here in this documentary, that's one of the things, that at no point was his Patrick or his mate in any danger at all. They were not in any physical danger. It was being played with this kind of sense of faux drama, like they were going undercover. What you think you're going to get killed, or you think you're dealing with people who are armed, or you think like you're in serious mortal danger when you go out there. Well, you weren't. Look at it. They weren't in any danger at all. There was no risk of them getting their heads kicked in or anything like that. So it was all a bit of a damp squib and very anticlimactic, really, and it made no real sense. But it does make sense through the lens of this is an organisation that is reliant on public funding to keep itself going, has no real kind of goodwill with the public. I don't know anybody who's ever talked about them, really. I mean, people know they exist, but I've never heard anybody say what a bunch of great guys they are. I know we've got one or two reviewers on IMDb, but I wonder if they work for. But the whole thing about this documentary is to perpetuate an idea that there is this massive fascism problem in Britain, which there isn't. There isn't. I mean, we haven't got a massive fascist presence in Britain at all. And it's rather neat in terms of it follows the riots of a few months ago, in that look, these weren't far right riots at all, and there isn't a massive far right in Britain. You know, that's quite a niche thing, and and people should stop saying it. So I'll talk a bit more really in the not so distant future about the kind of griftathon that exists, because one of the other things that came up in this very messy program as well, because it was jumping between various things and it was all over the place really. You know, it was going on about Tommy Robinson for a while, and then it had a segment with Paul Golding in it. I thought he was in jail or he disappeared or something, right? And then they were bringing Nigel Farage into it, and it was absolutely all over the place. It was an absolute scattered mess. And one of the reviews here, actually, one of the best reviews on this IMDb page, said exactly that. It's just an absolute jigsaw of random stuff that's just been thrown together, and it doesn't make any kind of coherent sense, because it's not going to when it comes down to it, because it's not real or authentic or on the level. They're trying to perpetuate a picture that isn't real, and there's a bit of a grift going on with various people, but Hope Not Hate is a massive grift itself, and maybe I should talk about that more, or maybe have a guest on the show with us who knows a bit more about them than I do to talk about that. But that was my review of it, the Hope Not Hate the musical. And I expect to see a rerun on Christmas Day in between Cool Runnings and The Grinch. So, yeah, if you've got any thoughts on that, just leave them in the comments below, and I'll catch you soon. Cheers, mate.